That one fired me up extra. I'll be honest with you. All right. Judd'z Budz episode. Motherfucker. Is it 145?
It is.
Right this time? All right. Gretzky plus Spurgeon. As always, host spoke Z, joined by my good buddy, Mr. At State of Hoppy. Hoppy, how we doing?
You know what? We're recovering from being knocked out for about a week by a cold, but it doesn't matter because back-to-back gold. That's all that matters. Sick hat, by the way.
Keep the change. Yep. Thank you. I almost wore a different one than I didn't for USA, for America, just for the fellas. Tell you what, I'm recovering just from the last hour and a half of my life. Had a ridiculous work day. It was insane. And then I realized that I'm out of beers for the show.
Oh no. Not 7-Eleven.
Can't no. I wouldn't dare go to 7-Eleven after a gold medal game. Every time I do that, I'm there for way too long before one of these, and I'm unbelievably late. So I just went to the liquor store. Just keeping it simple. PBR, 6 tall boys. I bring it up to the register. The guy fucking looks at me and goes, all right, 10? Oh, wait, no, 9, 8? Then he looks at me.
Just take it.
He literally just goes, Monday, PBRs, gray sweats, gray sweatshirt, gray hoodie, shitty day. You know what? Fucking 8. And I was like, fuck off. All right. You piece of shit. I'll give you 20, motherfucker. Dickhead. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, no, I will take the $8. That's fine. I was like,
that's like the reverse of where people mentally decide they're going to buy something because it costs more, because they in their mind decide it's better.
Yeah, it was.
He looked at you. He's like, I can't charge you full price. There's no way.
I was just I literally just looked at it. I was like, fuck. All right, whatever you want. Whatever you want. So I got, after getting shit on for 12 hours at work, that guy chirps me. The first person I talked to after work chirps me immediately. Sneaky, but not sneaky chirp, just almost him being nice, but also being Jesus Christ, pal. I was like, all right, cool. Then I'm walking back, still playing that scenario over in my head again. I was like, what the fuck was that? That was one of the PRs falls out of the fucking plastic turtle killers. And I was like, damn it. So pick that one up, take another step. Another one falls out. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. And this kid waiting at the bus stop looked at me and just was like, Jesus Christ, get it together. And the only thing I had, I was like, I'm doing my best. Fuck.
I did my best. I did my fucking best.
Dude, I picked him up like this, and I literally scurried back to the apartment. I was like, and then I just walked in. I was like, fuck. I was like, I had nothing, but I was like, cut me some slack. I'm doing my best, man. So that was interesting.
You know that reference from Dane Cook, I hope, right?
What'd you say?
I did my best.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was going for. I thought you'd pick up on it.
Oh, no, I'm still just rattled. But I just got brutalized. I had nothing. I just had nothing for either one of them. And I mean, you should have seen the look of disgust on both of their faces, but specifically the kid at the fucking bus stop. I was like, fuck, I'm just getting shit on left and right. So that's what I'm recovering from. You might have to rag the puck for a little bit while I collect myself again. Then, of course, my fucking internet stopped working. And then my computer, by the way, wasn't working when I rebooted. So I am all over the place. But yeah, fuck it. Oh, God damn. You know what? The bus stop kid actually is really pissing me off. Now I think I wonder if he's still out there. I don't have a fucking word. I probably would say the same thing again, to be honest with you. I don't think I'd have anything different.
I don't think you'd have anything different, but
I'd probably be like, U.S. back to back. And he's like, I'm American. So I don't. Okay. That was a terrible chirp. But I was like, all right, whatever. That's all I had. I don't know. I'm doing my best.
I'm American. Oh. Well, okay. So off of missed references with you just not picking up on the Dane Cook thing because you're frazzled, I got to throw this out there because the Soda Stick folks do awesome work. Landon crushes it with the art, with the pop culture references, whatever. Because of how much I love the cult classic Dumb and Dumber, I'm upset that he got the whole like reference with Marco Rossi backwards in his latest design.
Oh no.
Well, because like, so for those that don't know, listening, Trenyan apparently like was in the locker room and referred to Marco Rossi as Australian, which I'm convinced he absolutely knew what he was doing. Because then there were further jokes about shrimp on the Barbie, whatever. And like back right when Rossi made his debut, I threw up a video that was like basically saying like, this is Rossi introducing himself to the team on day one. And it's Austria. Oh, well then. Good day, mate. And the picture that they posted for their new design is Marco Rossi as Lloyd. And that's just not accurate. Marco Rossi is the Austrian who Lloyd mistakes as the Australian. So either make that Trenyan or have Lloyd looking out at Rossi, who is the girl. I don't know. Awesome design, and it works because, like, not to be mean, but, like, Marco Rossi kind of fits the Lloyd cut. And it's just, for me, loving that scene so deeply for so long, it doesn't sit right with me. So I had to bring it up. I had to complain. Now we can move past it.
That's like... It's weird. It's like a miss that's like, oh, you're close, but at the same time, you're so far off.
It's a miss that everyone else thinks is a hit, and that's why it bothers me. It bothers me that no one else understands it's wrong.
You should start messaging people in like directly, one by one.
I commented I'm done now. I just made one comment being like, shouldn't this be Trenyan? And one person replied, no, it shouldn't. I'm like, I'm not playing this game.
oh fuck.
And it wasn't them. They ignored it. It was like just a random commenter just like, no, it shouldn't. I'm like, I'm signing off for the day. I'm out.
All right, go fuck myself. Yeah, sure. No problem, dude.
But you know what? Marco Rossi, first star of the week in the NHL. Who would have thought?
I mean, it's fucking unbelievable. Like, and Russo just put up another story of like where he's been at the last couple of years at this point. And it's just crazy how he's like, whatever, drafted literally unexpected setback with myocarditis, misses the whole year, works his way back, gets a look for 16 games, gets sent back down to the AHL. And then last year takes off. And now again, like coming in, the big addition they made is Trenyan
now. Yeah. Like on Yin.
Yeah. And we were saying they didn't make any major additions up front for like scoring, but like if Marco Rossi can at least replicate, if not improve on what he did last year, and he is on pace too. I mean, he's already got 15 now? 15 goals. He's right around a point per game. He had 4 assists night against Carolina.
Many goals.
In a second. It's crazy. Like he's not only just taking it one step forward, like he is like the out and out top 6 center on this team. And I think at this point, I don't care what the calculation's been before this point, like they can't look to move. Like they have to keep it. Like I don't know how you could still. I feel like now too they're like
or sell high.
Yeah, but there you go. Or sell high.
It's crazy how the fans have turned though. They used to be so divided, and now everyone's like mad. Even at Russo coming on with me and Joe last week, like suggesting that there's any flaw in Rossi's game whatsoever. Like, what more can the guy do? No one puts their heart out there like that.
He has a family.
He's like Fritz, heart of a lion.
Fritz Moo Dang going toe to toe. Now there's what's the new fucking hippo? Have they named it yet, or are they still taking? Which zoo? I don't know. I can't keep track.
It's always the Cincinnati Zoo, isn't it? Don't they get all the cool animals?
Sure. Yeah, we'll go with that. That works for me. In Cincinnati, though, come on, fucking bring it out here. Yeah, Rossi, what is it? I actually should have pulled up the points. Actually, no, I did have the points up, then everything stopped working. So there you go, extra fucking not with it right now. You know what? Whatever, not important. We have to talk about the fucking Predators game. Zack Laro.
Do we?
I was literally walking home. I went out to dinner with friends. I was walking home as that play happened. And I was in the middle of a crosswalk in downtown Boston. And I always look like a fucking lunatic as I'm like this watching a Minnesota Wild game, like in the middle of a fucking crosswalk where everyone tries to hit you in their car. I was like, motherfucker, you fucking son of a bitch. And everyone's like, oh, there's a crackhead. There he is. There's another crackhead in public walking home like a lunatic. That was a double slew foot. And Spurgeon just went flying into it. Oh, it was Richmond Zoo. Thank you, Quasimodo.
They named it Poppy?
Are you kidding?
That's pretty lame.
Yeah,
that either makes it the least or most ferocious of them, like having a bitch name like that.
That's brutal. All right, well, I'm out on
that ruined the whole vibe. But thank you, Cosgrove, for keeping us informed.
Hope you have pocket aces. But I mean, just an insane slew foot from Zack Laro, who, like, I think Russo and LaPanta talked about it. After he did it, he looked like he was like, yeah, fuck yeah. He's like nailed it. And like his whole bench was just like fucking idiot. Like, so he gets a 3-gamer. That's where it gets interesting, where it's like, hey, if you know anything about Zack Laro, like I watched a lot of him in junior hockey because he was a really good player. Like as far as like talent and ability goes, like could have gone mid first round, and he plays with an edge, but that edge is like a fucking lunatic. Like he's been suspended several times in junior hockey, so people are mad. They should have got more. I mean, it was a terrible play, but it's such a weird debate, I guess. I don't even know if you really call it a debate, but like, because realistically, you can't fucking factor in junior hockey into, you literally can't, but like, his history is so ridiculous. Like you should have seen some of the shit he was getting suspended for.
But dude, it's like, and granted, I think Isha approaches this shit intentionally like a jackass sometimes, and like tries to get people like unnecessarily riled up. But like he's very much saying exactly what you're saying, and then like fans are coming in being like, "Oh, what? So if I get a DUI and run people over in Arizona, I come to Minnesota and it just doesn't matter?" It's like, how can you?
I saw that one. I was like, whoa.
How can you possibly think that those are on the same level? There's no way.
I saw that response and I was like, fuck yeah, let's pick this guy's brain. I was like, let's see what he's got.
I want you on my team.
What else do you have up your sleeve, pal? Like that was crazy. He went right to like a DUI for himself. Interesting. It's tough though, because again, like his history is like bad to the point where like his draft stock suffered because of his disciplinary issues. Like it was that bad where like he's attacking fans on his way off the ice, that he's like a game he's been kicked out of. Like he starts attacking fans on his way off with his stick. Like he is unhinged, which is why he fell later than like he was. Actually, everyone knew he was going to fall anyway, so it's not even later than we expected to go. But like where he could have gone, just in terms of how good of a player he is. So it's just like, but again, like you can't, I totally get the fact that you can't factor in like your disciplinary record from junior hockey in the NHL. You can't do it. But like, then it's like, okay, well, that was an egregiously bad play.
Yeah.
Major injury potentially for Spurs. I mean, he's on LTIR now?
Yeah, but I think it's weeks rather than months. So.
And either way, it's Jared Spurgeon, who missed essentially all of last year with an injury, came back this year, missed a little bit of time already.
Yep.
And this is one of these plays where it's like, hey, there's a decent enough chance, just given his age, his track record, like his injury history, that this could significantly hamper the rest of his career. So it's like, that's when I do understand wanting more than 3. At the same time, I think you'd probably have a hard time giving it more than 3. It's a weird one. I'm like, if it was like 2, I would have been, that's like ridiculously bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt like a 4 or 5, I guess. Just
yeah, but I do understand though, where like 3 for a first offense for a play like that is
big,
like pretty substantial, and I know that's hard for fans to grasp, especially like you said, like Spurgeon could have been significantly injured there, and it is an absolute
potentially
play.
Could be.
Everyone knows that that's like the most frowned upon play in hockey, and it's still like, okay, there it is. There's the precedent. If he does anything else and continues the track record that he's shown before the NHL, guy's not going to last. He's going to be gone.
Yeah. So I guess then at that point, it's like, for a first-time offense, 3 is a lot, but so at the same time, but should that realistically, the fact that it's a first-time offense realistically come into play anyways? So I guess that's a different angle too, where it's like, for a first-time offense, 3 is a lot of games. At the same time, that's like a 5-gamer. Like, so who gives a fuck if it's his first or his 5th?
If you're Guerin, are you calling Peros and being like, buddy,
I think he did.
Buddy, check the look on this motherfucker's face when he goes to the bench. Yeah. You're telling me that doesn't double it immediately?
It was crazy because
like,
at no point
that is
was
the worst part to me. Like, it's a horrible act, gruesome, but he was so excited about it. He thought he just did like the coolest thing ever, thought the boys were going to rally, and they're all like, you donkey.
Dude, I played 1 fucking year of real hockey. It was in 6th grade, and even I had to like, oh, everyone's going to be pissed about that play. And holy fuck, he was like, yeah, nailed it.
Oh, man. The easiest engagement I've ever gotten on Twitter was just posting that video and saying, clean, penalty, suspension, straight to jail. And people just went nuts.
How dare you ask the question?
No, this is actually the first time in a while where like no one was confused. They're like, yep, we know what you're doing here, and we're just going to say how we feel. Yeah. There's been a lot of times in the past, like, how can you think that this could be clean? I'm like,
Mateo's in here. He's learning how to fucking rile the people up. I'm shocked he didn't throw one of those.
He does a great job of trolling people without directly trolling them.
Attaboy, Mateo, keep it going, pal. Well, the good news is, so he's going to be out for 3 games. We'll see if Nashville puts him in the lineup on fucking January 18th, because he's going to have some.
Honestly, don't you want to put him in? Like, don't you kind of want him to get that?
Absolutely, because if you don't, it's open season on every star player on your team. Like, it is open, which you have to like just throw him out there, let him take his medicine. And I mean,
out there
the
for the
thing is, like, one might not be enough. Like, that's the thing. You're getting Foligno.
Hang on. If he goes opening draw and goes Foligno, I think they let it lie. I think that would suffice.
Yeah.
Now, if he ducks Foligno, they won't.
I don't think he will. That's the thing. He won't. Well, who the fuck knows? Actually, I mean, he's nuts, but
he might die.
No, I know he has to. So like,
no, they should do this straight up, like it's like old school arcade game. Like you just advance bosses. So first it's Lauco, then it's Middleton, then it's Trenyon, then Foligno, and he has to go through all of them and try and survive.
Yeah. Survive in advance, bro. Survive in advance. But yeah, I think we can probably move up. I mean, again, just like a ridiculously stupid play, and like not only a Slufa, it was literally like a double. It was like I don't even know how he fucking pulled that off at full speed. But hopefully Spurgeon can recover. Yeah,
Cosgrove. Preds Troll saying, "I want a guy who everyone hates." I mean, if I were a Preds fan, I'd want guys who can score goals, but that's just me. Only team with less than 100 goals still.
Which is nuts. I still don't.
Ouch.
Fucking crazy.
Holy crap. Now, Z, we should touch on it, though, for the Rossi stuff. Like, what is this contract going to look like with how things have progressed? Like, Billy Guerin is really, every week, he continues to regret not signing him the previous week.
Yeah. It's like, now, so before when he was making one little mistake and then Hines would like bench him for 10 minutes and then he'd go out like the next shift and either like tie the game up the other third period or like assist on an OT. Like he was just doing that shit where it's like every time he does something good as Hines, like, fuck, like, yes, but also fuck, damn it. Billy G is doing the same shit.
That's his problem.
I do wonder if like they can find some kind of, because I still wouldn't be shocked if they were sitting there saying like we're not ready still to go like a 6 or 7 year deal maybe.
Probably not. I don't think they'll ever reach that point. The real question is going to be how
Does
much
it just go for the 4?
Bury them with the different terms, but I think you were about to go exactly where I was going to go, so go for it.
If he can what's he got to do to get him to take a 4x the Billy G special, the 4x4, dude?
Well, 4x4 NMC, which I don't know if Rossi's ever getting the NMC is the problem.
Yeah.
So what's a 4x4 turn into if there's no NMC? Do you call it a 6x3 NMC? Or remove NMC? Just 6x3 flat out? I think that's a reasonable deal. That's probably where it lands.
That's fun. I mean, I would be like, yeah, okay, sure.
As Guerin or as Rossi?
Guerin.
You think so?
Were you saying? Oh wait, you said 6x3. Do you mean 3 years, 6 million?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. Usually I go years first and then dollar.
I figured it'd be again. We just said that it's not going to be that many years.
Right. I mean, I would.
Because that's the only way you're getting him to take a bridge deal. He needs like money now.
It's going to be one of those like 2 or 3 year, but like legit dough. That's the only way that his kid's going to take that. And
or
I mean,
you
again,
go
like
to 4 or 5 years, and then you get it down to like the 4 or 5 mil range, maybe if you like can assure him he's around for the long haul.
If Billy could get him to take like a 4x5 or a 5x5, he's probably doing backflips. Rossi's not. I would have if I'm Rossi's age. I'm like, you're getting more money than that. But like,
the only way he is taking that is if there is trade protection. Like he's not going to sign that deal and then get shipped off to Buffalo. Sorry, Buffalo, but like, let's be real. So I think that's like a fair assessment. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it continues to develop. Like every week we should just come up with a new, like, here's what Rossi's contract would be if he signed it today.
1 by 14 million. It's fine.
Or we could do the Frank Vetrano and just like pay him 10 years from now.
So that's what I was going to bring up too. Like, obviously he's too young. So like he's going to be signing another deal. If they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But like, it is interesting. That's becoming a thing that more like, this is like what the second or third time we've seen some of these this year. Some of these contracts get signed where like they're getting paid out like years beyond their contract, which is just like, I'm convinced the CBA is fake. I am fully convinced that like everyone agrees to it, and then like
guidelines,
the signature, like they sign and they go, like, I mean, this is official except for when we don't want it to be, and then the league's like, yeah, it's fine. We don't really give a fuck about anything. But it is weird though, like not weird, but is it not weird? Wild. It is interesting that like. Now Vetrano signs one of these. I wonder how many more of those contracts get signed in the next couple of years for guys that are like 27, 28, where it's like, yeah, we want to give you a ton of money the next 4 years, but you want to sign an 8-year deal. How about we fucking defer payments and shit? I wonder if that becomes more popular. I don't even know. When is the fucking next CBA, by the way? Which again, it's fake anyways. Who cares?
A year or two, I think.
Yeah.
But
it is
a weird one, though. I don't think it's going to be common because I think this is a spot where you got a player who like popped off last year in a bit of a decline this year, but loves being there, wants to stay, wants to make it work. They have the cap space to burn right now because they aren't even close to fucking competing. So they eat it right now for the cap hit, but they push the actual dollars out to when they're hoping that they're going to be making real money. So I don't know. I think this is kind of a weird one where you might see it happen occasionally, but it's not going to be any big name guys. It's going to be the like middling to bottom 6 type guys where you want to find a way to make it work now. But like, I'd almost think that a lot of teams would almost want to go the opposite kind of direction. Like, is there a way that they can have lower cap hit and push the cap hit down the road, kind of like the NFL seems to be able to do, and pay more actual dollars now because you know you can recoup it later, but that's something that gets way further out of the scope of the CBA. I don't see it happening a lot, but I mean, who knows? That's something that, like 10 years ago, no one thought that we'd be complaining about state income tax. So, like, who knows where this shit's going to go? I still think it's ridiculous that people think it's that big of a competitive advantage. Like, it's really not. But, like, we only care now because those teams all happen to be good.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing.
Back when those teams sucked, no one gave a shit about state income tax. Like, whatever. I don't know. That's my opinion. So
I did want to mention real quick. This is just a 2-second point. It was very funny that Nashville game. The first 2 goals for Nashville came off some absolute primary assists from Trenyon. It's like they went tape to tape for the Predators on those first 2 goals. I was like, oh my God, he literally forgot what team he was on. Like, it was like, what if it was like a backwards pass? I was like, holy shit, what a pass. Good, count it. Who cares? Anyways, I just wanted to mention that because it was fun. While I was watching, I was also looking like a lunatic. I think I was also crossing the street again. Trenyon was just going tape to tape for Nashville, and immediately they scored. I was like, yeah, boy, 2 pizzas. Fucking love it. Good for him. But we can move on. I just thought it was funny. I think I'm one of one. The one person in the world. We can move on.
There we go. Well, we got to talk about then, as mad as Wild fans have been about Spurgeon and many other things, without Spurgeon, without Kaprizov, we somehow managed to go on the road, continue being good on the road and sucking at home, which is very confusing for the history of this franchise, and beat 2 of the better teams in the East, Carolina and Washington, which you were on it in the preseason. You were very pro Capitals. I was against just because I was afraid of all of the weird pieces coming together, but dude, they're looking the part, and I know we're going to talk World Juniors later, but they're going to be adding Ryan Leonard come playoff time. Uh-oh.
Problem.
Do you think he comes in and makes an immediate impact, though? Like, I don't – this is an exaggeration, so don't take it at face value, but is it kind of like you used to talk about Damon Hunt in juniors, like going around and just doing whatever the fuck he wants, and it's like, yeah, dude, as soon as you hit NHL, AHL, you can't do that shit anymore. I think Leonard has the skill and he has the size to be able to like be a player in the NHL for sure. But dude, you watched him in World Juniors, he was bull rushing and ragdolling people left and right. He's not going to be able to do that shit in the NHL.
Yeah, I mean, I would look at his college hockey tape over World Junior tape and be like, oh yeah, he plays like that. Like, he is a premier power forward. Which is why, like, his draft year, dude, like, he was obviously looked at as like a mid first round guy, and as the year went on, like, obviously it's always great when he's playing on the same, like, him, Perreault, and Smith are playing together for fucking like 5 years or whatever, but like his style of play was just like NHL power forward. He's strong as fuck.
He's a ball,
and he's got ridiculous skill. And again, we'll talk about his World Junior.
What a pussy wearing the fishbowl, though.
Dude, it was he was getting fucking viciously chirped every time he touched the puck. And I was like, this is brutal, dude.
We can come back to that later. But so yeah, beat the Capitals and beat the Hurricanes, which is honestly like the bigger one for me.
Not just the fact that they beat them, and not even just the fact that they shut them out. Like, they legitimately, there were probably, like, most of the game, they were legitimately dominating. And I mean, first of all, Marco Rossi, a 4-assist night. Thank you. Keep the change. Matt Boldy, a sick breakaway goal. I think he finished, 2 or 3 points in that one too? But I mean, like, without a bunch of their top guys, they, like, throttled Carolina. Obviously, like, Carolina scores once, it gets taken back, which, by the way, what are they, 4 for 4 now with the challenging goals? I think 4 for 4, 5 for 5 maybe. Give those fucking video stuff, give those video guys a fucking raise, because they are batting 1,000 right now. But like, just the fact that, I mean, like, at no point did it feel like they were ever going to lose that game. And Carolina, who, like, they're a pretty shot on, like, they're a high volume. They've always been under Rod Brindamore, which, by the way, his record is, I didn't even realize, like, since he got there, obviously they've been nasty. I didn't realize how ridiculously good his record was, like, since taking over. Like, it was like one of the fastest or the fastest to however many wins he's got now. And I was like, holy shit. Like, he's like a 650 win percentage or point percentage. It's ridiculous. But like, they throttled them, keeping the 21 shots on goal through 3 periods. But at one point, like in the first period, I think shots were like 11-2. And it was like it was a dominant performance without Kaprizov, without Spurgeon, without Middleton. So, like, obviously they go through that stretch where it's like, yeah, they're losing these games, whatever. We've got, like, some injuries. Then they were losing some bad ones. And I think at one point they lost, like, 5 of 7. I think they lost 4 in a row at one point. And they come back. They beat Washington and they beat Carolina. But the Carolina win specifically was like, holy shit. Didn't see that coming. But just incredibly, incredibly impressive, obviously. So at this point, if anyone still has doubts whether they're legit or not, I don't really know what else to tell those people. You're just like doing the classic, like, I will not let myself get excited about Minnesota because this is Minnesota.
In fairness, they just went last night, as we record this on Monday night. They just watched the Vikings that everyone has gotten overly excited about.
That was
absolutely buried Sunday Night Football against the Lions. Now they go from potentially getting a bye and having home field advantage throughout the playoffs to now being on the road, going to play a team that they already lost to, and that team is playing better now. Minnesotans aren't allowed to believe. You don't understand this.
That's what I'm saying.
Boston, where everyone wins.
Well, that's what I was saying.
We lose.
That's what I was saying. I was like, I think it's that specific crowd where it's like, I will not let them.
I don't blame them.
I don't blame them either. But also, speaking of, please feel bad for New England sports fans after the worst win in NFL history, where Jerod Mayo gets fired 3 minutes after they win their 3rd game of the year. It cost them something. Dude, I don't give a fuck about football, but my timeline of all my friends out here in England was so funny. Like, Blackbird tweeted, "You have to fire Jerod Mayo if they win this game." And sure enough, 3 minutes.
You had to fire him either way.
It was like he immediately got fired. It was like, oh fuck, it was a chaotic Twitter time.
How great would it have been though if, like, there's like 4 minutes left in the game and he's not on the sideline anymore because he's already been fired.
He's like, yeah, fuck. They like another touchdown. He's like, fuck.
Oh, and now the punter is going out to play quarterback. This is a little unorthodox. Oh, he's actually stepping back to pass it.
Is that Robert Kraft putting shoulder pads on? Oh my god, what is he doing out there? He's gonna get killed.
Have you seen that episode of South Park, the Washington Redskins one?
No.
Oh man. All right, we won't get into it. It's incredible. Cosgrove's laughing already. I know he is. But so Cosgrove actually brings up a question worth discussing. So what changed with the Wild PK? Are they just running hot or are they actually playing better? I watched the highlights of the Canes game and it looked like the Canes had 2 to 3 real chances all game.
I'm at the point where I'm going to stop trying to like predict what this PK is going to do. It is either like they'll kill a penalty or they'll have a game like the Carolina game where it's like, I think what was the PK that game? 5 for 5 and like suffocating, or it's the guy that takes the penalty doesn't even close the door to the box before the puck's in the back of the net. Like it's one or the other. And I've stopped getting mad about it because it's just like, I mean, I have no fucking, like, yeah, of course. It's either gonna be great, it's gonna be terrible. What am I gonna like invest any time into breaking this down? I have no fucking idea what they're doing out there. I don't think they do either. They're just hoping for the best. I think at that point, just hope for the best, man. And also, Trenyon scores that shorthanded goal against Washington, the funniest shorthanded goal of all time, where he fucking forechecks the goaltender. And then, by the way he waited out. Who was it in that game? Was it that dude from Vegas? Or not Vegas?
Swimmy, Swanee, Slippy, Slappy, Swenson.
Either way, he grabbed the puck with the forecheck and like went out the goaltender and actually cut all the way around. I was like, that was actually not only impressive that he got the puck, but the fact that he like went for the wraparound and still waited out the fucking I think it was Logan Thompson. He waited out like a fully extended pass. Like, that was sick. I think it was Thompson. I think Thompson was in it. But I have no idea. I like the PK is either 5 for 5 or -7 for 2. You know, like it's just one or the other. Where it's like that PK was so bad, we're gonna count that power play goal as 2 goals. That's what we're gonna do. So I've given up trying to break it down, assess what's going on. I have absolutely no idea. We all just have to close our eyes and hope for the best. And I mean, I think that's basically what they're doing anyways. So that's all we got. I don't know.
That's all we got. Okay, fair. Before we transition here to a new line of discussion, have to give another shout out to our good friends over at 9 Mile Brewing. Awesome tap room, great beers. This one that I just polished off, more unique, weeded whiskey, barrel aged, honeybush vanilla red ale, 9%, 2 for his nibs. It's delicious though. I love it. But for the people out there who think that sounds psychotic, I don't blame you. That's fine. They have very normal beers too. They got lots of IPAs, lagers, pale ales. They got stouts, porters, you name it. They're awesome. And it's just outside the cities in Bloomington. Go check them out.
What's the name of it?
What did you just say? The beer is called 2 for his nibs. It's a play on cribbage. Do you know the game?
Yes.
Okay, so you get the reference. The style of beer is a weeded whiskey barrel-aged honeybush vanilla red ale, and it's a 9% beer. It's delightful. Delicious.
Yes.
Don't fight it. Just go with it.
Just
go with it.
I would never answer the bell to that fucking. I will accept. I'll take your word for it.
So last quasi-wild topic to take us into the next segment. Jakub Lauko. He did skate today per Joe Smith, and he's a lunatic, and we love it. I say that in the best way. He only comes to Twitter when it's about trolling people or sharing Lord of the Rings stuff, which he actually shared one from Lord of the Rings memes. Would you play? And it says, it's like a meme that says this game needs a remake, and it's a Lord of the Rings video game. I absolutely abused that game. It was awesome. It does absolutely need a remake, but that's beside the point. Oh, he also goes on for fight stuff, which is why we can't even let Isha talk to this mutant. But here's the series of Twitter. First, there's him a year ago, January 2nd, saying, "Not today, Canada." He quotes it and says, "Again," with the Czechia flag. Then he shared the Spittin' Chicklets post that has the video of Czechia beating Canada, and in all caps, Czechia eliminates Canada in the final minute of the game. Then there's Pete Blackburn, who is very cheekily saying, "Oh no, you hate to see it," sharing the same video. Lauko quotes it and says, "Oh no, you love to see it." Well, he shared the bronze medal notification, and that's the extent of it. But the other one, and let's see if I can find it here, Z, but did you see his countryman who also made a post?
I didn't see the Voracek one, no. I saw that.
Voracek gets a little bit more unhinged with it. Let me see if I can get it here. All right,
I just like reading it in his voice, too. That's the best part of the Voracek tweets.
It bothers me the most that Jacob and Jakob are spelled the same, from the same country, but one's Jacob and one's Jakob. That's not okay with me. So here it is on January 5th. Next time, full stadium of Canadians booing 19-year-old kid because he got kneed hard on thigh. Remember, Canada teams have to shower with shorts. Great tournament for Czech Republic. Congrats on the bronze medal. Oh, Voracek, goddammit.
Oh, he's the best, dude.
He's awesome.
I remember that someone jokingly tweeted at him. This was like a year or two ago. And he clapped back viciously, and the kid was like, hold on, read it again. I was just kidding. And the next day, Voracek quote tweeted again. He was like, oh, fuck, my bad. Was drinking beers. I was like, so funny.
It is pretty good.
But also, Lauko just chirped. He also, again, the other thing that he loves to log on to Twitter for is specifically to chirp.
Go after
his
Pete.
buddy Pete. Because, again, Pete's at the Winter Classic. And it tweets out, damn it, I just had it up too. This would piss me off.
Damn. You hate to see it.
Yeah, you do. This is, I'm not embarrassed about it. Okay, Pete Blackbird at the Winter Class. Anyone in Chicago have ice skates I can borrow for tonight? Shoe size 9.5.
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
Lauko Cote. So you mean 6.5?
Yeah.
So
Dude, I can't wait
Blackbird
to
just
get him on
responds,
your show.
WTF.
I can't
Oh,
wait
that's
until he
impressive.
comes on with us.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great. Let's see. Yeah, no, Lauko skating, Middleton skating again too, by the way. So potentially
right.
another one back soon. We'll see.
Knock
about
Kaprizov.
those.
Fuck.
Yeah, but yeah, some good news, anyways.
Yeah, for sure. But now, Z, let me pull this up here. We do need to make a proper transition
I think let's
into.
announce it. Is it a proper one?
Hang on. What, is that you?
I think that's my phone. That scared the shit out of me. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, it caught me off guard. I'm like, oh no, did I accidentally play something and play the wrong thing? That wouldn't have been great.
More scared of that noise than I was at the kid at the bus stop, dude.
Believe that. All right, here we go. Oh, hang on. I got to fix it. That's user error. Oops. Now.
Don't you cry! Oh, mama, don't you cry! USA Hockey is do or die! USA Hockey is do or die! Put hockey stick in my hand! Put hockey stick in my hand! Send me off to a foreign land! Send me off to a foreign land! Carl said I'd be a star! Carl said I'd be a star! And I go very far! And I go very far! Pour Gatorade in my glass! Pour Gatorade in my glass! Just can't go!
I gotta believe it now because we're too tasty.
Let the boys swear, for fuck's sake. Who gives a fuck? Let it rip. They're fucking booing them all game. Well, not all game, all tournament. Fucking let them. Let's hear it. Who gives a shit? Whatever.
As
Back
your
to back.
screen just gets blacked out because of all the swearing you just did.
I know. I haven't said the one thing that I definitely can't say anymore. I've been good about that.
It makes me so happy though. Like it's the coolest tradition that they do that ever since the Kreider, Zucker, all of them year. But people still getting mad about it, like classless
so
USA.
great.
It's like you guys just don't understand.
We also remember it was was the last time? Not obviously they won last year, but the time before that they had the trash cans out for whatever their whole tradition was before, and Canada lost their fucking minds about it.
Mm-hmm.
Which was just like, then they were like, no, this was a inside thing. Like this wasn't about any other fucking country.
Well,
They're like, yeah, right. It's crazy. These motherfuckers actually, this is one thing I got to say this though, because the weirdest tweets I've ever had sent at me randomly, like the weirdest ones, was this like 57-year-old man, the fucking dog shit Summer World Juniors, where it was the dumbest tournament of all time. This guy, as Canada wins, they beat the US. This guy's like, haha, fuck you, Canada rules. And I was like, I get this. And I was like, oh shit, this is a real person. This isn't just like a trolling thing. And then the gold medal game, every time Canada scored, he was tweeting at me, laughing emoji, USA sucks. And I was like, okay, every fucking goal. And then at the end of the game, he just goes, why do you even watch hockey, you loser? And I was like, that's kind of funny. That one was kind of funny. But also, you're 57. Like, fuck off, dude. Leave me alone.
Was it wrong?
Weird as fucking. It was, no, I would die for that man, though, because he pisses off Seth.
Yeah.
The funniest tweets ever.
Cosgrove,
I love it.
I didn't hear this. Maybe you were up on this, Z. Didn't the Canadian women make up some bullshit that the U.S. women stepped on a Canadian flag with skates on or something? I don't know. I kind of hope they did.
I don't know. Like they get all mad about fucking anything with hockey and them not dominating. And they're like, oh well, show some class. I'm like, okay. Oh, you want to talk about showing class at the World Juniors? You want to talk about Hockey Canada wants to talk about class at the World Juniors? We're not going to go there, but like let's fucking shut your mouth. Sorry, I shouldn't have done that, but I did it.
No, I
myself spot the line.
I'm okay with the fact that you did. This one from Mason earlier. I wish Russia could compete. We missed out on seeing Yurov the past few years in the World Juniors. I mean, we're continuing to miss out on these kids, and I don't know. Controversial take. Like people can come at me with pitchforks, whatever. I don't know why we're punishing these kids when they have nothing to do with the political climate of anything. It's just like, why shouldn't Hockey Canada be removed from World Juniors for the acts that were done by those players? Which, weird, that was actually the players, not the government. Like, I understand why there's countries that don't want Russia to be involved, but I don't know. I feel bad for the kids because they have absolutely nothing to do with what's going on. You know?
It's one of the things where it's like I feel bad for the individual kids. I do get the overall thing because it's like,
yeah, for sure. It's a big political.
It's a source of pride for that like whatever, especially with fucking Vladdy over there. Fucking loves his hockey and shit. So
right.
So it is like a big source of pride. If they get a win, like imagine they get a win on North American soil. So that's like, oh fuck, like we can't let them have that shit. It's annoying as fuck. We've missed out on
against them in the Olympics during the Cold War. Like, how is that different? In fairness, like
points are made.
I'm not arguing what's happening now. I'm just saying it doesn't feel like we are.
Yeah, I like
curve.
I'm at the point where I'm like, all right, okay. Especially given how good the games would have been, like specifically the one that really did suck was that first one where it was like we're missing Michkov and Bedard go toe to toe, like that sucked. And again, it's the same situation, like, but all right, like I mean, I'm not gonna fucking like whatever. My whole thing is the hockey part is annoying because like those would have been some really good fucking teams, especially like some of the years too in the World Juniors were like, what was it 2 years ago? Canada won like the fucking gold. They were just like 7-8 goals. You're like, all right, this isn't even fun. Like this is annoying. No, it wasn't 2 years ago. I forget which year that was, but either way, like not having Russia, those kids playing with some of the high level players recently, like Michkov, Yurov, Rosashenko. Now like Ivan Ryabkin, who he's in the USHL now, by the way. Ivan Ryabkin.
Hang on though. I got Laura to watch the gold medal game with me, and she immediately, like without having talked about any of the other teams, was like, holy crap. Literally everyone from Finland's last name ends in EN or IN. I'm like, yeah, you should check out Sweden. It's all Suns, and Russia is Ovs.
Other than the greatest hockey player to ever live from Sweden,
Etchkin,
who was their best player their best forward.
Etchkin.
Yeah, well, as Herb Brooks put it, whoever of in the movie. Yeah, I don't know. It's again like the whole thing that we can transition actually into like the World Juniors because what a fucking tournament. Like
Isha is obsessed with World Juniors, and anyone that like tuned into his streams, like he crushed it throughout the tournament, did an awesome job with all the live streams. And like that boy, even with Canada getting eviscerated, he still loved the tournament. And he said it's probably the best in a decade from like top to bottom competition.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like there were still a few blowouts, obviously, but this year specifically, like, anytime a team like Latvia can show up and do what they did against Canada, but like everyone's rooting for them in the first place. Their fans that come over to the World Juniors, they're fucking nuts. Like they are like diehards. But they mix in a win against Canada and like almost every other game, like even games with like Germany, like they went toe to toe with like Finland at one point. Yeah. Like again, like the win against the U.S. for Finland really catapulted them into like performing really well the rest of the tournament. But like there was drama at like pretty much every day of games. There was at least one or two that was high drama.
Yeah.
And like it was fucking good hockey.
There weren't many blowouts by any stretch. Like there were some games that were definitely tilted, but like nothing crazy. And we have to give a shout out here too, Z. I don't know if you were aware, but Scott Young, who like was along for the ride with Isha for all these streams, he gifted out several different member subscriptions to the channel. He's donated. Scott is definitely one of us now. We love him. Had to give him a shout out there. And this is his first time tuning in with us, but welcome, Scott. You rock. And Isha and I are meeting this week. We're actually going to come up with some cool things to actually give exclusively to the members of the channel. So stay tuned for that. And we might actually throw out a video asking for comments from you guys, just letting us know the types of things you would or wouldn't want. We'll throw out some ideas. You can give us yours, but want to reward those of you that have actually decided to jump on and join. So, but Z, back to back for USA. First time ever. And oh my God, was it fun.
And like the thing that I actually totally forgot about and was actually surprised, it wasn't obviously like it wasn't just the first time they went back to back. It's the first time they'd ever had the opportunity to go back. Like they've never appeared in a gold medal game 2 years in a row, which to me, I'm always like, as I like start remembering year after year, I'm like, oh yeah, no, now I remember. Like in my head, it's just like it doesn't make sense.
I mean, thankfully the summer one doesn't count. That's made up. So
that was the worst. That was the worst.
So bad.
That made throw that in the mix is like worst hockey tournaments of all time. I fucking was so mad the whole summer because of that fucking tournament. Actually, no, it was at the end of the summer, so the whole fall. I almost said the whole spring. That pissed me off for that long, dude.
All right, we're just gonna jump right to it though, Z. We can come back to the greater picture. We got to talk about Zeev Buium, who everyone is heralding as like the player that clearly had an impact in this tournament, at least if we're going to ignore Sweden, who didn't medal, so we should ignore them. Oh, sorry, you cover them. I forgot.
Kind of now. I think this World Junior Tournament specifically is just like another reason why people should be super high on a kid like Zeev Buium, where yes, like coming in, like last year he was incredible in like a somewhat not like totally limited role for US, but like obviously not as one of their go-to defensemen. This year he comes in and it's like everyone knows what he's done at Denver, where he puts up crazy points. He's doing it again this year. He's got the most goals for a defenseman in college hockey again. So like all the flashy plays that he makes, there's like anything is like offensive, like any points that he puts up, that's what people like see. That's obviously what makes the highlight reels. But what was so interesting, and again, the reason that people should be so high on Zeev Buium in Minnesota is the fact that he didn't put up crazy points like we were expecting that he would. But there was a reason he was easily the highest time on ice for Team USA pretty much every game, especially once David Carl started throwing out him and Cole Hudson together for literally half of the big games. Like as the tournament went on, I think it was like probably 3 games in, maybe they started doing that where it was like, fuck it, like just roll Hudson and Buium, throw them out there every other shift. And I mean, like in the semis, I think he ended up playing 30 minutes. Last night he played 28 or like 24:59, I think. Or 27. But like when those two were on the ice specifically, first of all, I think the US had the puck pretty much the whole time. But I mean, he was covering, like he let Hudson run wild offensively, where it was like Cole Hudson was everywhere on the ice and Buium was there to recover. He was killing plays, like killing offensive scoring chances before they started like in the neutral zone. Like he was defending really well. So the fact that he put up limited points or like lesser points than we thought he would or would have expected coming in, but was probably between him and Hudson, like you could take your pick for most important defenseman on that team. Like I think Cole Hudson probably could have got the MVP of the tournament over Ryan Leonard.
Had less minutes than another defenseman, which kind of surprised me.
Was it Fortescue?
No, Minetnian.
Oh yeah, no, Minetti ended up playing a ton of minutes.
He almost murdered Augustine.
Yeah, that was bad, dude. I was like, oh no.
I wasn't like, oh no. I was like, thank God, please, yes, please.
I was like, we
Now
got
the tournament's over. I don't need him anymore.
He wasn't that good this tournament either. That's the thing. He just fucking stand on his head like he usually does. No, but I mean, like, you could make an argument between those two, Hudson and Buium. Like, Buium still was probably, like, you could convince me either one that one of those two were their most important defensemen / most important players in this tournament. But the fact that Buium didn't put up crazy points, like he didn't put up like Sandy Pellica points, or Hudson, who also set a record for points as a defenseman at the World Juniors, but he was so critical to their success. Like, that's what makes me think like people should absolutely believe in his upside. He's going to be a ridiculously good NHL player for a long time. Well, no, like, I think the offense is what, anytime an offensive defenseman comes around, people get excited about, like, oh, but he's going to have to work on his defensive play.
You know what got my attention, though? On the new unimproved? What's the opposite of improved?
Regress?
No, because regress doesn't always mean a bad thing. You regress to the mean.
Regress to the mean, yeah.
So, I don't know. Whatever the opposite of improve is, the lessened 32 Thoughts, the podcast, with no Merrick, RIP in peace. Everyone go watch the sheet because he rocks. They mentioned right away that as soon as helmets came off for celebrations, 0 sweat on Zeev Buium's hair.
Dude, he can go.
Is he Scott Niedermayer, who I herald as the best defenseman that I've ever watched? Yes, over Nick Lidstrom. Like, Scott Niedermayer, that guy was the man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, like, Buium literally could play. Like, he does not get tired.
It's
and again,
not
like,
crazy comparison though. Like, it's not identical, but like they both have the offense first, but do not let you down defensively and play stupid minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. Let's go with that. Fuck it, why not? I would. Yeah, it turns into, yeah, it's a great thing. But like, I do love the fact that yes, Buium didn't put up the points, but he did end up with 2 assists in the gold medal game on the tying goal and a ridiculous fucking saucer pass in overtime for Teddy Stiga, who got scratched, who was benched or scratched first in the beginning of the tournament. Then he scores his first fucking goal in overtime of the gold medal game. One shot on goal.
That's the Stamkos from the playoffs.
Incredible.
Played one shift, scored the goal that mattered in the Stanley Cup Finals. It's not a bad person to be compared to.
Not bad. But dude, like the ice level angle facing Buium when he made that pass, tongue out like MJ at the end of like a 45, like they were going back and forth that shift specifically. By the way, I do this knew I was gonna fucking do it. Cole Hudson made one fucking play in overtime that was so outrageous. I was pissed that they didn't score. Like, he just recovered a loose puck at his own end, diced up the guy that was coming to take the puck, made his way up the ice, and threw this insane no-look cross-ice hook pass. I think it was to Perreault, and they didn't score, but it was like, that was so fucking nasty. So those two together on the ice, though, that was so fun to watch. I mean,
I gotta call both of us out for a second. So first, I'll call myself out. Very, 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 very wrong about Cole Hudson. He impressed the hell out of me in this tournament. And I never thought he was a bad player, but I definitely thought he was a guy that was like getting a lot of like praise off of his brother's accomplishments. He hadn't like shown me this level previously. And granted, I don't watch all of his college games by any stretch, but I just thought like, yeah, he's a guy that should absolutely be drafted in the first couple of rounds, but like, in this tournament, I agree with you. Like, he was an absolute difference maker. Granted, I saw it a lot more offensively, but still, like, he was an absolute difference maker. So I apologize for ever slandering Cole Hudson's name. I will not do it again. God bless you, sir. Z, you want to apologize to the people for that Cole Hudson goal? That was awesome, by the way. But you clipping out Zeev Buium working magic to get the puck out of the zone.
Yeah, that was just shifty. That was sick. But
Apologize.
before I actually apologize, I was going to mention that too about Cole Hudson, where it was like, so coming into his draft year, like I think all of us had him probably mid first, somewhere in there, like flirting with a top 10 projection. Draft year didn't go as well as everyone had hoped. Like there was a lot of flaws in his game. I mean, even at BU, since he's been there, like he hasn't really popped off yet. But this tournament, so we always talk about taking like individual performances at a World Junior, specifically like the draft guys. Like you don't really want to like increase or decrease their stock too much. But like what we saw at this World Juniors from a kid in Cole Hudson, where it was like, that was the player that we were expecting. That was the level of performance we were hoping for and expecting in his draft year. But like, that's why there is so much more. And you see, like, he also, like last year, the World Juniors, he's fighting Albert Johansson, who's 6'6", like after the final whistle. Like, it was nuts. Like, he plays very similar to Lane, but he is significantly more physical, more violent, and he plays with that, like, that fuck you, which of course he pulls off the Superman celly because Finland was doing it. Like, he plays, like, he has that other angle or edge in his game. But this is why I think he is a legit NHL prospect, and the fact that, like, we were wondering if he would slip past the second round, but Washington steps up and just like, no, like there's a player right there. But that's the level of performance where it's just like, that's what we were expecting coming into his draft season. Didn't see it, haven't seen it yet at BU. But like, I now wonder what he's gonna take this. Like, if he takes the momentum into college hockey for the rest of the year, he might really fucking pop off. But like, there's a fucking legit player in there. And yes, like the reason we didn't see him have to defend a whole lot is because when him and Buium are on the ice, like the US has the puck the whole time. But he made plenty of really good defensive plays too. But dude, that game time goal, that fucking move that he put on, shout out / RIP to our boy Rasmus Kumpalainen. That fucking backhand to forehand shift between, I think it was it Kumpalainen and Helenius? It was so nasty. And of course, he goes no look off the pipe and in. A ridiculous shot too, and then he pulls off the Superman celly.
That is what's impressed me the most, though. Like, he's got the moves. He's a very shifty guy, but his shot is lethal. It is.
And
but
he can just get himself into these positions too, where it's like he was under, like he had to get his way through. Kumpalainen is 6'4", like, and he got around him, no problem. Like, he took the puck. To him. Like, he took.
He's definitely more of like a power, like, I'm thinking like power C around the guy, whereas he doesn't have the gallop that we saw from Zeev Buium. Like, he literally like high steps when he's ready to like make his move around guys, and it's so fun to watch.
Wait, shout out though, Papa Hudson. I think his name's Rob Hudson in the stands. Camera goes to him after that goal. He is packing an absolute lip boomer, dude. He was like, the
I saw your video, and that was the best one that you posted.
I was like, that's a sick goal. The video went to his dad in the stands, and I was like, oh my god! It's like, oh, holy shit! He's got half a can of Coke in there, dude. It was like out here, and he was like, like, holy shit!
Good on him. Good on him.
That guy can't feel his face.
So before we get to a couple of things from the live viewers, I have to selfishly ask, and I'm prepared to completely admit that I am a bandwagon jumper here, but I am probably the conductor of this wagon. Talk about Brody Zeemer, please. Like, what do we have to watch from this guy who just did his first World Juniors? He's in his freshman year with the Gophers, and there's only more to come with what he's going to do next year in college and World Junior.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny too. Like, we talked about him last week, and before that, when we watched him in person versus Michigan State, it's just like, he plays the right way. He's a smart player. he gets better each game, like not just game to game, but in game. Like you can see him processing throughout the game and like finding himself in the right positions. Again, playing the right way, but like the two-way ability, like he can check every box where it's just like he's a coach's dream, where it's just like any situation you need him to throw out there, like throw him out there. And like we saw a couple of those guys, which is a big reason that I think the US did win this tournament, was like, yeah, the line of like Leonard, Higgins, and Higgins wasn't always playing with Leonard and Perreault, but like, yeah, they put up their points. But they have some big time moments from that dude. Someone fucking did it about Leonard to me, and I was like, it was the bit. They're like, I can't believe the Wild didn't draft Leonard. I was like,
nice.
Oh, you almost got me for a second.
That's actually awesome though that they said that.
I was like, yeah, all right.
That's like, a true listener.
But like the US got some big time play, some big time goals from guys like Brody Zeemer, Danny Nelson, Brandon Svoboda. Like they were like, that's why I think the US did. A big reason the U.S. won this tournament was the fact that, like, yeah, in big moments, the big dogs did show up at times, but like they got some huge goals from guys like lower in the lineup or just like their workhorse guys. And Brody Zeemer, again, like all he does is perform. And like even if he's not going to put up points, like at this tournament, he still put up good points, but like he made so many fucking good plays where it's just he plays the right way and results ultimately follow. Which while I was laughing, of course, before my fucking computer crashed, I did have Wheeler's article up where it was just like that thing. He like assessed every prospect, like every NHL prospect performance at the World Juniors. I think the first sentence was just like, plays the right way, plays hard, good kid, does the right thing every fucking time. Like it was one of those where I was like, yeah, it's just like
presidential candidacy. It's
yeah, good hit, tries hard, loves the game.
Nice guy, tries hard, loves the game. Speaking of which, we'll get into Phil Kessel a little bit later here when we get into Canada, but we got to talk a little USA here, and I got 3 comments that all kind of work in conjunction with each other. Whoever says, do you guys think USA will three-peat? Team USA projected roster doesn't look all that great. Obviously, a couple of random draft eligibles could pop off. Mason Matson says, I don't see a three-peat coming. Canada's got a strong team next year, and USA is looking like a weaker team. And our boy Max Veach bringing the best college hockey coverage on MNCAA. Unfortunately, his Bulldogs are not good this year, but hey, 2 of them were on Team USA, so he's happy. We got to talk about this year and give the recognition it deserves, but we got to address who's returning and guess who's joining next year in Minnesota. Z, are there any Minnesotans in particular that stand out as guys that are ripe to join Team USA next year for World Juniors? And do you first, without going into too much detail, do you think USA can three-peat?
It literally everything will have to go right for the repeat, not only because the roster is going to be significantly different, and like you look at like the USA and TDP this year too, like it's not. This is like one of the weaker teams we've seen in a long time. So, and a lot of these guys are just going to be in the NHL anyways. Like even a kid like James Higgins, I mean, he'll be like he's a draft eligible, but I would be surprised if he's here next year too. Like they're gonna have to have a big time roster turnover, and I think it's going to be incredibly difficult, especially when you consider like the way that the final standings panned out. USA is going to be the same group as Canada and Sweden, like in the group play. Canada is going to be loaded. By the way, there's some 2026 eligibles in like playing junior hockey, the CHL right now, that are like terrifying. And they all have chances to make this team too. So I would say if you it's the World Juniors, you're never going to rule it out completely, but it is everything will have to go right for the USA to pull that one off. Like it is going to be a depleted roster. Like there's going to be a ton of turnover. I would imagine, by the way, at this point, I will be shocked if David Carl is not in the NHL next year too. He has all he does is fucking win.
About him. Hang on. So what's do you have an opinion of where he lands? Because I've got a strong one that I'll be dropping in the hot take segment for Fellowship of the Rink this week.
Give me David Carl here in Boston, baby. No, that'll never happen. I want him to be in a big market, though.
I got a big one.
Anaheim? Like, I mean, like, you look at Anaheim, like, what the fuck are they doing?
Let me give you a hint. This should make it pretty obvious. I will be devastated.
Oh.
So let me lay the landscape here for you. Think of a team that has historically not done right by their young players. Hasn't brought them along correctly, has buried them, has screwed them over. A team that has very much underachieved this year, which I called. You're welcome. I at least get some things right. And a team that has to make a drastic step for the GM to maintain his post. I think David Carl is the highest paid coach in NHL history, because that's the only way you're going to get him out of Denver, for the New York Hockey Rangers. It makes me sick, but that is where I can see him landing, because the only way he's leaving Denver, he has the most security in the world. His family's happy there. It's a great place to live. If you get stupid money from a premier franchise in the top U.S. market, how do you say no? How? He is going to be with the Rangers at top dollar. He will make more than any other NHL coach, and it will make NHL coaches very mad. You can take away that part, but Rangers, it makes sense. I hate it, but it makes sense.
I mean, I don't even know if it makes the most sense, because it's like, I think any team that's looking for a coach, there's going to be an argument for David Carl.
Yeah, but will he go there? It doesn't matter. Any team would want him. Does he want to go to them?
By the way, genius move on his part last year when he went on Chicklets, and he was like, I mean, yeah, no, I've had offers.
Why would I leave?
I'm good where I'm at. Wins another natty. Wins the natty. Comes back. Wins the fucking World Juniors again.
And he'll probably be in the Frozen Four this year.
So young, dude. He's so young. By the way, Denver's probably like, dude. Denver's like, please come back. Oh my god.
No, that's the other side of it. Will he get the dumbest NIL money? Because they're gonna just take whatever NIL money's coming in for the players and be like, guys, do you want to keep winning? We got to show some of this over to coach.
He gets it all of it. They're like, all right, dude, fuck it.
No. Here'd be the craziest one. What if he coached both Denver and Colorado? just like doesn't stop.
He's a consultant.
He tells them, hey, Fridays and Saturdays, you got to use the assistant coaches. Sorry. Outside of that, I got you.
No, he's consultant on both. He's eye in the sky for both teams.
Executive consultant.
You just like the fucking camera goes to Laviolette on the bench after a goal against. He's on the phone. It's like, who is he talking to? It's like David Carl. It's like, why the fuck do you have Panera on the PK right now, you fucking idiot? He's like, oh shit. All right. I don't know. If I'm David Carl, I look at it like he's gonna have. I mean, he's already had several offers, or like people reaching out wanting to coach in the NHL already. I wonder if he's built up enough of a resume where like he's gonna have his. I don't know if New York, like a massive market like New York that's so volatile, owner and James Dolan, the performance this year especially, there's so much of a fucking emphasis on like not just making the playoffs but winning a cup, and they clearly are not in like the spot that they thought they were. I wonder if he would be like, that seems like a not great situation for me, because he's gonna have however many fucking offers, and I would bet the last thing he wants to do is take all this momentum between winning multiple national championships, multiple World Juniors, and then just landing in a spot where it's so volatile, where it's like if he goes like first 20 games of the year, if they're like 500, people are already talking about like, was this a mistake? Is he just a college hockey guy? So I wonder if he still like would go somewhere else where there's more young players that are on their way.
So Chicago, sadly.
Holy fuck! If he ended up, I would throw up. I would throw up.
Now, if they didn't just hire a coach,
Screaming, crying, throwing up.
San Jose would actually make me happy. That'd be awesome to watch him go up with San Jose. But yeah, absolutely fuck Chicago. But to Cosgrove's point, he makes $750 at Denver. He in the NHL could easily make somewhere between like $3 and $6 million, depending on the team, the market, how badly they want him. It's a pretty big jump, but again, the security, the comfort, and just utter dominance that he's established where he's at. I get it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder what. I'm sure I could figure it out, but I wonder what Spencer Carberry makes in Washington. I'm very curious to know what he makes, just because it's like he's a guy that like a lot of teams really wanted before he took the Washington job.
Yeah.
I think he was runner-up to Montgomery here in Boston. And I mean, we've seen him, but like even then, like he was coached for a while in the AHL before he stepped in. Like coaching college kids is. I'm not saying this because as if you don't know, like, it is insanely different. So that's why I keep coming back to the fact like he's in a phenomenal spot right now. If he wants to go coach in the NHL, like imagine just be like, yeah, I could if I want to. And like actually being able to say that.
So right, he's like the only one that can say that.
Yeah, there are plenty of coaches like, yeah, I can.
He is so young. Again, to emphasize that.
Yeah, he's got so much time. It's not like he needs to like do it. Like that's the thing. It's crazy.
Yeah. Now, Z, to this point, Flyer Voracek throws out Zeev is just involved in every big moment. Also, the Penguins for Hoppy and the Wild were 1 and 2 picks away from having Cole Hudson available to them.
Hudson.
I mean, that's way better. It's very suitable for this tournament. Again, I am now a like Cole Hudson advocate. I feel bad for the negative things I've said about him in the past. He has absolutely proven me wrong, and I will say no ill against him again until Frozen 4 when he matches up against the Gophers, and I have to say bad things. But I got to ask, as we transition to some Wild talk again with Finland, we got to talk about the Finland roster. But tell me before we get into the Wild, guys, Pieneniemi, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Menemini. Pieneniemi. Dude looked fucking good. And wow, maybe the Penguins didn't get butchered as badly as everyone thought by Carolina. He looks fun.
Yeah, no, he's a good player. I mean, like another player that like in junior hockey has shown up at big moments too. He's like, again, he kind of plays that like a style that doesn't necessarily, as far as like when you're drafting, like he's not going to jump off the page, but like he kind of just like can do a little bit of everything. He's got individual skill, and you see him pop up big moments. He was really fucking good at this tournament for Finland. They had a couple guys that like Finland was just an interesting team in general from start to finish. And again, like they really like once they had that win in the group stage against the US, it felt like that was a catapult for them to really start performing. And by the way, they were kicking the shit out of the US in that first period and probably the first 2 or 3 minutes of the second period before US really turned it on. And they were like, fuck it, we actually are going to throw Hudson and Buium over the boards every other shift for the rest of the fucking game. But he showed up in a lot of big moments. I mean, even Kangas in the back end there, your boy Kangas, he looked good the whole tournament too.
He was all right.
We
should pause. I feel bad now. We didn't ever actually address Veach's question.
Oh.
What Minnesotans do you think will be representing Team USA? I got one and a fake one that come to mind right away, but curious if you know of any off the top. And I feel like the one that I have, you'll come up with pretty quick.
I'll let you go first.
He may or may not be a prospect of your NHL team.
Yeah, Beckett
Hendrickson.
He looks good.
I figured him, and then my half / not real one is shit. I meant half because he's not actually Minnesotan, but he'll play for the Gophers, but also maybe half in stature is LJ Mooney on the team next year.
I would imagine so, yeah.
Yeah.
And Mateo just put in the group. Phillips, dude, this kid is so fun. Yeah, I think he didn't get hurt. What's his face got hurt? when I watched him in person against Harvard, holy fuck. He is big. He is mean as fuck. And he can move for a fuck. I think he's like 6'4", 6'5". He's coming to Minnesota next year. He's from the USN TDP. He is a fun player. I could see him potentially making that team. Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, I mean, I was gonna think Beckett.
Oh, that stands out.
I don't know. Like, that's the thing. It's such a weird. It's gonna be a very, very, very different U.S. team at next year's tournament.
Team with a chip on their shoulder.
They're gonna be casting a wide net because I mean they're losing pretty much every top guy at this tournament.
Is Hudson aged out?
I don't know if he'll be back next year. Maybe though.
If he's not aged out, he'll be back.
No, he just got drafted this year, so he's got another year or two.
So he'll be back. He's not going to the NHL.
We'll see.
Do you think he is?
I wouldn't completely rule it out. I mean, maybe not in Washington. So.
Fuck.
I was gonna say you just apologized.
I think he's sick, and but like his brother, who is better than him, played 3 or 4 years, didn't he?
I think he played 2.
He only played 2? I thought he played 3. Fuck. All right. Maybe I'm dumb.
I don't know.
All right. Moving on.
I think he may have played 1.
Lane Hudson? Am I losing it? I apologize.
Because his draft year, I don't think he was at BU. Hold on.
Lane Hudson played 2 years at BU.
He did play 2. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean,
played 3.
Careful with the predictions.
Cole Hudson will absolutely be leaving college at the end of this year. My apologies. Apologies.
That's so funny. It was like, I have to apologize. I shit on him. Then 20 minutes
I think the real question is
he's fucking ready for the NHL.
That's what we got to worry about. Scary. All right, we can move past that. Actually, another question coming from Mason Matson to get us back on the Finland track. I was not super impressed with Kiviharju. Do you think he will ever make our roster?
Yeah, I think he'll play games. I think he'll be an NHL player in Minnesota. Like, it's this is what makes this Finland team so interesting, where it's like the reason that they made it as far as they did is the fact that historically Finland has always played that like prick, hard to play against style, clog the neutral zone, defend at a high level, and then when you really need to turn it on offensively, they can just like they'll get like 6 scoring chances in a game. They might score 3 times. Like they really can pick their spots. Rimpinen steps up, best goalie of this tournament, other than fucking the kid from Latvia.
Yeah. And so we have to say,
JHL guy.
Yes, Isha was shattered by Latvia and their goalie who plays in the QMJHL.
Just a fucking
poetic. Like that's James Joyce shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, he just has to fucking accept that it's his favorite league now. But I mean, Rimpinen obviously, especially considering they made it to the gold medal, heavily on the back of Rimpinen. He was fucking ridiculous. I actually felt we wanted the U.S. to win, but he was so fucking good that game anyways.
Great.
Oh my God.
His name ends in EN. Oh, man.
No, but Kiviharju, so like it's always going to be tough for a team built the way that Team Finland's built, where it's like there's not that like you look at some of the top scorers for like Kiskinen was really good for them. He's a big boy that can score, but he plays big boy hockey. And like it's like the power play was like his role was like to dish. It was just, I mean, he still logged big time minutes. I think, he didn't necessarily stand out. Like he didn't make a ton of eye popping plays. I mean, like if you were looking for him, you would notice that he did make a few really good ones, but like to the stuff that he did, like doesn't really stand out. And he's not going to pop off at a tournament like this specifically where Finland goes far because of the way they can clog the neutral zone and like play that prick style of hockey, he was always going to be like, the reason he fell to the fourth round was like obviously the injury thing, but like that style of defense,
size.
It's the size paired with the fact he's not like he's got really good lateral mobility. He's a very agile player, but like his top speed is like below average. So like he doesn't fly around the ice, but he is a super highly skilled player. And he's very smart. And again, like his defending comes like a lot of times, honestly, in the neutral zone where he's just like breaking up plays. But he's like, because of his like lack of foot speed, if he gets beat wide, he can get put on a poster too. Like it's one of those situations where it's like, it's tough.
Now, would you, maybe this is off base and you would know better than me, but crazy statement to say that there isn't a more copy-paste team year to year in World Junior than Finland?
No,
like,
they play the same style.
Same team every year, no matter who the players are. They are the exact same team, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, the one
ceiling are like this, whereas USA and Canada's floor and ceiling are like this.
Yeah, and I mean, like the one year that it was different was the year they beat Russia in the gold medal game in Helsinki, where they had Rantanen, Laine. They were loaded and like legit insane top end talent up and down that lineup. That was the one year it was like, oh, they've got like a fucking potential. They've got a couple potential number one picks in any draft year. Like, and now you see them like ripping up the NHL. So like that was the one year it was different. But historically, they've always played this way where it's just like they're very honest. They fucking are physical. It is usually not the most exciting brand of hockey, but it is effective. And it's like still fun to watch because they will piss you off and it gets physical. And like guys are just throwing big time hits, both teams. So yeah, but like historically, they've always approached the game the same way.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I would say that's not controversial. It's you watch, like we talked about this when we were comparing different leagues in Europe too. Where it's like, yeah, legally, it's like this is how they play. Like it's just like it's not super high scoring. Like they'll have the occasional like high end players, but at the same time, like the way that they play is just like very honest, like hard work and like slug your way through the fucking neutral zone, and like just like battle. So that's how they've always played.
No, that's fair. Kumpalainen had an okay tournament, like you said, not a great look on the Hudson poster, but like
that wasn't even necessarily anything that he did wrong.
Right,
he just, I mean, Hudson just made a fucking play.
Anyone that ends up on a poster usually is a mistake. It's just, oh no, you're on the poster.
In like 3 years, I'm like, yo, can you sign this? Like, can you sign that poster? Like,
oh man, but I mean, really nothing crazy to talk about with Finland. Like the players did kind of what we expected. They're on the same track that we expected, and we're not going to get the overreaction, good or bad, to either of their play. I think where we got to park the rest of the World Junior talk then is Canada, which, like, holy shit, there's a lot for them to figure out. And I've got to start here, Z, with the most important topic of discussion. Anyone that didn't watch, if you're not fans, shame on you. Veach, talking to you. Gophers played against Mercyhurst this weekend. Everyone kind of expected that to be a ho-hum, whatever. Saturday night, within the first minute, first shot of the game, we get a goal from Matthew Wood, and it immediately brings me to the greatest tweet ever tweeted by any tweeter. He's American. Phil Kessel, just sitting around the house tonight with my dog. Felt like I should be doing something important, but couldn't put my finger on it. And that was Matthew Wood for this entire weekend. Or this entire week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever stretch. Like, how does he and Riley Heidt get left off of a team that fell so far short of scoring goals? Oh, not to mention Beckett Seneca, Tija Ginla. Oh, wait.
Tija Ginla's,
I mean, he's hurt, whatever. He wasn't going to be on to begin.
Michael Misa.
Michael Misa, Carter Yakimchuk, Zane Parak, and Yakimchuk is liking all of the Latvia posts on Instagram, which is incredible. Z, have we broken Canada?
The first thing I have to say about this whole performance is I think, unfortunately, because of like highly touted this player is, the fact that he's a Toronto Maple Leafs draft pick and he's been so fucking good in his draft year, but especially in the past year and a half, it is so unfair to fucking rip Easton Cowan apart. Like so every year if Canada doesn't win gold, there's always going to be one scapegoat. This year, because they were so bad, like, I mean, at no point did Canada look like a gold medal team. Like, again, like we talked about this the day after they lose to Latvia, the shootout, you're like, oh, they're playing Germany. We should expect to be pissed off and put up like 15 fucking goals. They looked like fucking shit in like, what was it, 4-0, I think, to Germany? And like, but again, it was like, it didn't even look like they should have blown them out. Like they just didn't show up. Unfortunately, Easton Cowan's taken the brunt of it, but like it was just crazy how like we all had questions about the roster construction, and then we're like, all right, but like it's still like this happens every year where there's some like top guys that get left out. Because USA or Team Canada is always trying to build like a projectable roster, and you can't just bring like top 5 level picks every year and play them all 4 lines, whatever. But the fact that like not only that, but then you just looked at the usage of where they were throwing these guys on the ice. Some of the guys are getting scratched game to game, and like every decision they made was crazy. And then after the tournament, the fucking management throws the players under the bus.
That's
it was
crazy.
like at no point did they question themselves. They didn't question the coaching. It was the players were put in the right position to succeed, and they didn't do it. And it's like,
well, dude, Mateo's comment here too. This is awesome. The OHL posting videos throughout that day of Misa and Parak just
they both were lighting it up. That's the thing. All these top dogs were just lighting it up.
Can you explain, though? It was crazy to me and many others who are way smarter than me. Why did Rakoff and Martone never play together?
They have been playing together in the OHL and putting up. And like the thing was like Carson Rakoff might be like, for people that aren't super familiar with like draft in general, like probably somewhat of a lesser known prospect, kind of just like whatever. But like he's been in the past, I think I tweeted out the stat recently, but it was like he's right under, like just barely under a goal per game in the OHL, a goal per game, even strength and the power play. They didn't put him on the power play. They started scratching him. And then when him and Martone did play, by the way, Martone gets scratched in one of those games.
Right.
They never play together. And who scored when they played Czechia in the semis? Who scores the game-tying goal? Porter Martone. How many minutes does he get that night? Like 12? And then Gavin McKenna, probably your best player, your highest ceiling player. He plays 12, 13, 14 minutes every fucking game. It's just crazy. So at no point did they have the right roster, probably. But like even then, like they were still good enough to win. And the fucking deployment was just brutal. So like every decision they fucking made was crazy. And the fact that at the end of the tournament, they basically throw the players that they did bring under, like throw them under the bus. That's like, what are we fucking doing here? Like, it's just crazy. But I would again emphasize the fact Cowan is getting way fucking too much hate. Like way, and it's like this always happens.
He didn't play well, but it's still way over the top.
Yeah, they had plenty of fucking problems.
Yeah, their highest scorer was Bradley Nadeau, and he didn't even scratch the top 30, and that was before they were eliminated with more games to go. Like it's bad all around. Now, my question to you is there a solution, or is Canada just on the downward spiral? Because I've got a proposal.
Oh, well, all they have to do is like they can still like there's so many fucking good players still that they can build a
doesn't matter. They still have to pick the good
projectable
players.
4 line. That's what I mean. It's all about like picking the right players. Like but they're still like they can make the decisions that probably everyone thought they should have, but still build a projectable 4-line team. But like going back to like Heidt and Wood, I honestly like I think I said this at the time. I wasn't like overly shocked that neither one of them made the fucking team. Like
because
the type of players they want to throw in there,
their teams, or because you didn't think they belonged.
No, because the way they choose the teams.
Well, right, but so the point is, why are they choosing the team that way?
Yeah, no, they galaxy brain it every time. It's just like it's worked historically for the past.
Like,
2
how
years.
has Wood been on the team the last 2 years, and then now
So the same thing
he's
with
even
Lambos.
more developed? like
we've seen it. I mean, we've seen this before. Like it's just like well, again, and the one thing that they deviated from was the fact that they brought more like draft guys. Like they brought McKenna, who's eligible in 26. Then they brought Schaefer, which god damn it, they brought Martone. So they brought like 3 guys that haven't been drafted. They brought 2 17-year-olds and a 16-year-old. Well, actually, I guess McKenna turned 17 like a couple days before the tournament or whatever. He's a late 07 or 06. No, 07. But like they didn't use them other than Schaefer. And Schaefer gets hurt against Lafayette. He looked, by the way, he looked so fucking good too.
He did.
Holy fucking
yeah, we'll get to that later. We'll get to that later.
Their offense from the back end completely eviscerated once he was injured. Once he was done, they were like, what are we going to do?
Well, they left Yakimchuk and Parekh at home. Weird. So here's my proposal, and it's going to seem kind of crazy. It's probably a bit of a stretch, but I'm going to say, what if you took like all the best players in the country, right? And you form like this kind of like academy of sorts. Call it like a development program.
Oh,
and you bring these players together earlier, build some chemistry, start weeding in and out the right players, at an earlier age, and really just prime yourself to kind of pluck then, maybe you pull a guy like a Riley Heidt who's sick and plug him in along with this academy of great players. And I don't know, it's unheard of and it's kind of unprecedented, but you could really use that team to develop and prime for the future who might land on a Team Canada for a World Juniors competition. I would call it like an acronym like CANTDP, something like that. So I'm going to talk about this in this week's Fellowship of the Rink. My hot take, another one that's going to go into the show, is that Canada in the next 5 years will implement a development program similar to the U.S. Now, there's going to be caveats because it is different in Canada, undoubtedly. Bigger pool, very different landscape of hockey. But let's go back to an interview that if anyone hasn't checked out yet, we sat down with Brody Zeemer, Oliver Moore, and Matthew Wood leading into the World Juniors. And what did he say?
He just knows, like he just has it. Like he's
can't develop. That's too good. All right, that's mean. All right, moving past that. It's Matthew Wood. I asked him as like a setup question. I was like, how weird is it that the US guys have this like development program and that's like where all of the US kids come from? He's like, I think it's fucking sick. Like, I wish Canada had something like that. And Oliver Moore looks over to him. He's like, good answer. Good answer. But like straight up, Canada could implement this and it could work well. And the U.S. has shown that they have built the best pipeline and development program to build their young players. And I think in Canada, it'd be a little different in the sense that you'd want it to be 1 or 2 years younger than what's in the U.S. You could almost replace exceptional status with, hey, the best kids that aren't eligible yet for CHL competition play here. They play largely in the BCHL, which guess what? That could save the BCHL. That could save the BCHL, who is about to be decimated by the inclusion of CHL teams in college hockey, because BCHL was the feeder program from Canada into college hockey. You now have a new path where you can go BCHL, Canadian Development Program, CHL for a year or two, college hockey, NHL, and it's almost like the perfect zigzag pipeline to get in. You bring in the kids younger, and to be honest, let's be real. Canadians are cocky, and there's probably truth to it. Their kids that are a year or two younger could probably compete with the U.S.
Oh, they're about to be a problem,
right? And that could work really freaking well. And I think that it would make so much sense, whether you want to make it U17, U16, hell, U15. I don't care. They could implement this crazy academy that all of these kids aspire to. And guess what? If they don't, there's still awesome leagues for them to play in, BCHL, and prove that you can compete against these kids when you play them in regular competition. You can play in the CHL. You can make the jump to the US still. I just think it makes so much sense. And they've reached a point where they have absolutely plateaued, and they are beating themselves by leaving great players at home, making poor decisions. This just makes it easier for you to slowly, over a couple of years' time leading up to World Juniors, having your team set with a couple minor adjustments, right? You're going to bring in the studs that you missed out on, whatever. But it just makes so much sense that the USA has set the blueprint. They have done it. They showed you with back-to-back championships now. USA has it figured out. Canadians are talking about it. The Canadian players, Hockey Canada will never talk about it because they would never admit their mistakes and wrongdoings, especially not in the court of law, but that's another thing.
Oh, fuck.
Just like, it makes too much fucking sense for Canada to do this. And I think that in the next 5 years, they will implement something of the sort. But I do think that the key caveat for them is it's not going to be the same age group as for the US. It's going to be 1 or 2 years younger, and it's going to work out really, really well in their favor. Thoughts?
I think they're so stubborn. I don't think they'll ever change the way they do it. I don't.
Okay.
Unless they lose.
Stubborn, do you like the proposition?
I mean,
if you're a Canadian,
yes,
do you like it?
I think yes and no, because it's like it seems like obviously like something that's obviously would lead to success. At the same time, they have the players to like dominate this tournament year in, year out. At this point now, like yes, USA is right on, like is right there with Canada. Even like Czechia, Sweden. Dude, the Czechs, we got to talk about the Czechs and the Swedes. We should talk about them this tournament too. But like there's plenty of teams obviously that are like, the gap used to be like, it's also crazy thinking about like how big the gap was even like not that long ago. But the US is obviously completely caught up to the point where it's like basically on par. Like you look at like the fucking Four Nations rosters and it's like, I fucking go US here. But like people forget like 5, 6, 7 years ago, there was still a like, it was like, oh shit. Okay. I mean like, yeah, we're there, but we're underdogs every time the US plays Canada still. Like it's always going to be that way. But they're so fucking stubborn the way they do things. The only change I really see them making potentially is finally just being like, we have to bring those top guys and like
literally just take the best players and don't overthink it.
Literally stop galaxy braiding it, because it's like now we're at the point where they've lost in the quarters or the semis, whatever, 2 years in a row to the Czechs. Like, and
now lost to Latvia. And yeah, back-to-back years where they don't make the Final Four and USA wins. I think it's
and shout out
USA won.
Shout out my buddy Cam Robinson. He in that post-game presser straight up asked Cameron any regrets with the roster. And apparently, like, so the quote comes out that just said, no, none. And then Cam tweeted after, he's like, by the way, there was a long pause and he stared at me dead in the face for like 5 seconds before he said no. Like he was pissed. I was like, attaboy, Cam, fuck that guy. It's like, it's crazy though. Like the guys that they left off, even if they didn't want to bring some of those top forwards, how you leave both Parekh and Yakimchuk off is asinine.
Both is the crazy thing. Because like I would urge you to bring both, but at least bring one of them.
Mm-hmm. And like, I don't know how you could possibly sit there and be like, I mean, even if you think that you still made the right choice, even if you're in your heart of hearts, you think, nah, those players should have performed better. How you don't at least say, listen, we brought a team that we thought was good enough to win. At the end of the day, we clearly have to look at ourselves in the mirror here, like look at how we assess how we're going to build out rosters. Like, not even that. The fact that they were just like, no, we brought players that should have that could have won and should have won. And then like he also pivots to like, it's like other teams are really good now. It's like, bro, you're fucking Hockey Canada. You're not supposed to say that. Like, you're always supposed to be like, what the
They're better than us, smarter than us, faster than us. Exactly that.
The greatest World Juniors interview of all time.
Isha's obsessed with that one.
Dude, that's such a. I showed my dad that over Christmas, and he was like, "Who the fuck is that guy?"
Do you tell your team that? Exactly that.
He's like, "Yes, exactly that." It's like, what do you mean? Hopefully we keep them to single digits.
How many first rounders? 15? Yes. We have 1 4th rounder, 1 7th.
That was such a funny. It was like, we have 1 4th rounder, one guy maybe in the 7th, I think. He doesn't even know off his
It's so good. But all right, so that's the solution for Canada. They won't take it. That's fine. They also won't be smarter and
well, they don't. So that's the thing. They don't have to.
Again, Cosgrove said, "Can't DP, can't develop. It's perfect." I completely looked past that. I'm embarrassed, but brilliant. Cosgrove always catches us. All right, a couple quick things because I got like 10 minutes tops here. Yeah. I gotta ask, with Hagen's injury impact, or I'm sorry,
Schaefer.
Hagen's impressions, Schaefer injury impact, Martone versus Misa, any other risers or fallers, anyone you want to talk about quick for 2025, and do you have a revised top 4 or 5 for that draft as it sits today, before we do a deep dive in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting too. So like you see there's a bunch of I think it was both The Athletic and then Cam Robinson also obviously typed up a report after the tournament. Like they were all talking to scouts, specifically like Hagen's. I mean, Hagen still put out, I think he was like 6th or 7th in points in this tournament. Like, didn't really do anything that necessarily popped off, but like, still, you saw individual moments where like, it's like, yeah, this kid's fucking legit. And he hasn't fully popped off the college level yet. I would remind people he's the one player that we looked at as far as like guys that have that should be in the running for first overall. He is the only one that went from junior hockey to college hockey, a full step up against different competition. And like the fact that he has just like performed, has he excelled? Probably not. I mean, he's still putting up legit points in college. I think he's right around a point per game, I think. He's playing with different players against a different level of competition. And like everyone he plays against is older than he is, and he's still just like performing. It's always interesting. So like the fact that scouts told guys at The Athletic who asked, and like Cam and other EP guys that were at the tournament, like it sounds like scouts are like, yeah, he's been fine. He's had opportunities, he's had good minutes, and he hasn't really popped off. That's what's interesting to me. It's just like he is, of all the guys that have a chance to go first overall, and the guy that came in as like the consensus for the most part, first overall pick, he is the one guy that's gone from the USHL or the USNTDP to college hockey. The number when they came in, the number 1 team in the country. And
did the US have a development program? Just like the one I just spelled? Crazy.
Allegedly.
Who knew? So do you think, is it a situational thing? Like, is it which team ends up?
Well, I still think
in the first you look at, or is it like straight up like it's just going to be who's better between Schaefer and Hagens?
Well, Schaefer, Hagens, Misa, and Martone, they're all like, depending who you ask, they're all like, those are the guys first overall. Like it doesn't like it still is. It's like it was really interesting recently. Like we did at Smart Scouting. Of course, I missed the meeting. Or I couldn't go to the meeting. We ended up with Misa at first overall, but like you go around, people have Hagens, people have Martone, like people have Schaefer. Like it's still up in the air. Like now that Hagens is going to be out for several or like 2 to 3 months potentially,
Schaefer.
That's going to hurt. What did I say? Hagens? Yeah, I meant
okay,
Schaefer. God damn it, you made me do it. You made me do it. I'm going to blame you.
My
Always
fault.
blame someone else. So we'll see what he look again. Like if he just comes back and just looks the same, he's still gonna be right there in the running for first overall. He's probably, he still should be. He is fucking ridiculous, and for like how young he is and the way that he plays, how smart he is, he's still gonna be in the running for first overall. Martone is just ripping apart the CHL. Misa ripping apart the CHL. So I would say still like this tournament didn't really do anything for me to affect either one of those, like the guys competing for first overall or in the running for first overall. I don't really come away thinking anything differently. Again, we'll see what Schaefer looks like when he comes back from this injury, but like realistically, I would say at least as far as like immediate impact, I would have to think that Mono would have played a bigger role, and Schaefer looked like 10 times a better player than he did when he came back like game 1. So like it's like Jesus Christ, this kid's phenomenal. So we'll see, but
give me your rank the 4, not knowing which team, because again, I do think it matters which team's picking, but give me your top 4 if you're just a startup team that I don't know, however you want to view.
I think right now I'd probably go.
I think I know what you're going to go with, but we'll see.
Misa, Hagen, Schaefer, Martone.
That I was so wrong. Never mind.
Yeah, so like last time when I was in Minnesota, when I was in Minnesota, I said like Schaefer for me. Like I just look at the age, how much of a modern game he plays, how much he looks like fucking Miro Heiskanen, except even then like on a different level.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna go Schaefer, Hagens, Misa, Martone. So
and like if you ask me tomorrow, I might land there too. Like
nice.
But yeah, this tournament for me, like you can't really take anything away from Martone's game because like Team Canada's deployment.
All this tournament told you is all 3 of them fucking suck, and Misa's better than all of them.
Yeah, that's where I land.
No, all right, that's fair.
But real quick, we should talk about Czechia. Holy
real
fuck.
Quick.
Oh my god, they are fucking
or
good.
If you're okay doing the end stream shutdown and everything, I can let you keep going once I jump, but I got 5-minute stops.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention like Stancil, I think he finished 2nd in the tournament in points. He looks really good. Doesn't have the foot speed necessarily that you would want, but like smart player, crazy high skill, really good shot. Charlie looked fucking phenomenal again. He is such a goddamn fun player to watch.
How many Wild fans do you think thought that was our Eurocheck?
yeah. They're like, how's he doing it? He's playing the AHL at the same time. This is crazy.
We traded him to the Blues?
By the way, his first goal was a fucking missile in the AHL, by the way. And he fought the other night too. Hell yeah. But the Czechs were so fucking good, dude. Like they were so good. They're a really fun team to watch. They're going to be good again next year too. They're going to be good for a while. They just have so many young prospects that are legit. So like they've absolutely like skyrocketed as far as like the overall projection talent level. They're like right there with all the big dogs too. And Sweden, I'm not just saying this for the bit. Felix Ungersson was easily their best forward. Like
not their best player, their best forward.
Axel Sandy Pelika, out and out best player on that team.
I'm still
phenomenal,
so sad about
phenomenal him. Once again. He is unbelievable. But
him.
Felix Ungersson was their most important forward. Like I don't think he lost the puck the whole tournament. Like I think he probably played 24 minutes a night at the forward position. Like he was dishing. He put up 10 points. Like he is so fucking good. Sweden. Just like it's crazy. They really dominated Finland too, especially like in like the 3rd period and overtime. And then fucking they get like it's just what Finland does, dude. They just make it work. They somehow get it to go. And Rimpinen stands on his head. So but they were really good too. At least wanted to mention them. And then lastly, Slovakia did Dvorsky. What a fucking World Junior career he had. Unfucking believable. He is so goddamn good. Ricky. Mm-hmm.
It makes me very sad that so many players that I like are going to St. Louis. I'm going to be very conflicted in like 3 years.
Yeah, once Snuggie goes, you're going to have to hate him.
Dude, if him and Rick play on a line together, I'm going to be a Blues fan.
Yeah. No, but Slovakia obviously didn't get the success that like will give any of those top guys the headlines, but Ricky Dvorsky was so fucking good. I think this was his 3rd or 4th World Juniors, and he's been phenomenal in all 4. So just want to at least shout out Ricky, our boy. And now we can do it now. We can end it.
Yep. Shout out again to Scott Young. You rock. You're awesome. For anyone that wasn't aware, even though we like abuse it and pepper it out regularly, actually, I can't even find it now. Well, I don't think I'm going to find it. That's okay. I posted something in here. Oh, there we go. Anyone that hasn't yet, check out the full Zeev Buium interview here in the comments, linked. He's freaking awesome. Also, check out the interview that we had with Oliver Moore, Brody Zeemer, and Matthew Wood going into the tournament. We'll have more interviews coming for you guys here very soon. But yeah, that wraps it up. What do you got, Z? Do you have an outro quote? I usually try.
No, I just saw one question that I'll hammer out real quick from Flyer Voracek. He said Buium, Levshunov, or Schaefer, or probably go Schaefer.
I missed that somehow. Oh,
that was
there it is.
Buium,
Levshunov, or Schaefer.
I think I go Schaefer.
But do you go Schaefer, Levshunov, Buium?
I think Levshunov and Buium are neck and neck.
I think the three are a pretty good group.
It's tough. I haven't seen enough of Levshunov this year specifically to really firmly differentiate the two. But Schaefer, given the age, the style, what he's done, I think he's going to be one of the best defensemen in the game when he makes it to the NHL.
As long as he doesn't get hurt again. Here we go. All right. Well, let's put another shrimp on the Barbie from Marco Rossi. God fucking damn it. And it.
Nothing.